Hello everyone. So today we are going to discuss about the temperature distribution in the oceans. We are going to look the various factors which play important role in the temperature distribution, and those are latitude, depth of the ocean, and the size of the ocean. So moving on, we are going to look at all the factors and also the temperature distribution in various oceans of the world. So we are going to look at the temperature distribution of all oceans: Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Ocean. Moving on and starting with this latitudinal distribution. So as we know that latitudinal distribution, majorly we are going to focus here on three parts, and those are, first of all, we have equator, second we have tropical region, and the third we have is poles. So equator receives more insolation because of direct insolation it is receiving. The second is rainfall here. Daily 4 p.m. rainfall in the equatorial regions. But on the other hand, we have tropical, which receives insolation but comparatively lesser than the equator. And rainfall in case of equator is more than tropical regions. But in case of poles, not direct insolation, because there are some months of the year where the poles do not receive direct insolation. So we are going to look at the latitudinal distribution in the graph. Let's say this is our 0 degree point and this is 30 degree, 90 degree. So one side is we have northern hemisphere and other side we have southern hemisphere. So this is our northern hemisphere part and this is our southern hemisphere part. So we are going to look here. Then as we have seen that the temperature in case of tropics is little more than the temperature in the equatorial region. So this is the point where this is the point tropical regions. Now after the tropical region towards the pole, the temperature would be decreasing. So it would not be zero, but this way we can say it will go. In the southern hemisphere also the temperature would rise in the tropics, but not as much as in the northern hemisphere, because in case of northern hemisphere we have more continental part. So as the continental part in northern hemisphere is more, that's why the temperature or the maximum temperature in case of northern hemisphere is more than the southern hemisphere. This is our equator point. This is how the temperature latitudinal distribution in the oceans. Now we would be looking at the temperature distribution on the map of the, and here we are going to look at the isotherms also. So isotherms basically help us to look that in which directions the temperature is more and where the temperature is less. So we are going to look here the isotherms. This is our equator. So as we know that the equator receives the highest amount of insolation, but due to rainfall, the temperature here would not be maximum. So now looking at the fact that in case of summer, the land part gets heated easily, so the continental part is warm. So this is our isotherm. In case of continental part, bent towards the poles. As the land part is more warmer, we will be seeing this type of bend. So here the temperature would be around 28 degrees Celsius. Here it is 25, 15, 10. This isotherm would be having 5 degrees Celsius. Similarly, in the southern hemisphere, the direction of the bend would be opposite to this. Bend towards the poles. Towards the poles. It is 25 degrees Celsius. Toward the poles, 20 degrees Celsius, and so on. It is 5 degrees Celsius. What we are going to see here, that which region has the highest temperature and which region is having minimum temperature. So this part of the Indian Ocean experience a highest temperature. It is in the tropical parts. As the tropical parts is receiving less amount of rainfall, that's why the temperature is maximum. So the maximum temperature in the isotherms of the ocean, this region receives the highest one. Going above towards the poles, the temperature would be decreasing. There is one more factor which plays important, and that is the shape of the ocean. So if we are going to look at the shape of the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. So actually the shape plays a very important role in anything. The shape of the Pacific is this, and the shape of the Atlantic is this. So due to this shape, it receives more rainfall. This part is cut in case of this, and it is bulge-like shape. So this bulge-like shape, that's why it receives more insolation. And due to this shape, lesser amount of insolation received here. So that is why the temperature range in the Pacific is more than the temperature range we are going to see in case of Atlantic Ocean. So this plays a very important role in the temperature variation. And now we are going to see the variations due to the temperature also. So let's say the weather is summer. So if it is summer, then the land is more hot. So that is why we are going to see that the isotherms would be bending. This is, let's say, the land part. So in when the ocean part would come, it would be bending this direction towards the equator. But in case of winter, land would be cold. So as the land is colder, so in case of land and ocean, we are going to see the variation that the in oceans it would be this movement. It would be opposite when the weather will be changing. We can also see the variation shown by the regional seas. So if we're going to take the example of say Red Sea or Black Sea, so these are smaller seas, and due to these seas we would be going to see that these are warmer. As these are smaller in size, less water present there, it would get hotter easily. So that is why we are going to see that the temperature range is more here. But let's say we have Pacific Ocean. So in case of Pacific Ocean, the temperature would be lesser than compared to the Red Sea. So, and other seas, if we are going to say that, what about the Baltic Sea, or what about Hudson Bay, Canada? So Hudson Bay. So these are present in very higher latitudes. So due to their present in the higher latitude, what we are going to see is that these would be having lower temperatures. So their lower temperature is due to the presence of the oceans in very higher latitudes. So this is how the regional seas plays very important role. And one other factors which plays important role is presence of ocean currents. Ocean currents also have a very important role. Ocean currents also play a very important role in deciding the temperature of the ocean, and we are going to look at that. So drawing the map here, this is Africa, and we have India here, Italy. So yeah, this is from where the equator is passing. So if we are going to see that this region is tropical region, this is equatorial region, the ocean current here is warmer, So if this warmer ocean current is moving to these colder regions, let's say this is moving to these colder regions, this water here is moving to these colder regions. What will happen then? This region would also be becoming warmer. So due to the transfer of water from this region to that region, the water here would become warmer. Now, if we are going to see here also, if the water is moving to these regions have low temperature due to the presence in the higher latitudes. As these are in the higher latitudes, the temperature range is lower. But as the warmer water will move towards the higher latitudes, it lead to the increase in temperature in those latitudes also. Now we are going to look at the vertical distribution. So in case of vertical distribution, we have a ocean. This is our ocean. And let's say that in the ocean at the above point, if we are going to consider that this is our latitude, that is 90-degree latitude. This is point in 90-degree latitude. Say this, if this point is near pole, then in the above points, say this is the ocean at this height. So at the top point, we will be having colder here, cold water here. But similar in the 0-degree latitude, we would be having hot water, or we can call it warm water here. But at some point depth, let's say at this depth, the temperature will be uniform. So how come this uniform will be? So it is because this water is colder here, which is here. But reaching to the depth, let's say if we are going to come at this depth, now the rate at which this get warmer. So at this point, we are going to see this is warmer and this is colder. So that is why at one point of time, what will happen that both of them will have same temperature. The rate at which this warmer water is becoming cold is higher than at which it is becoming colder. Ultimately, a point will come when both of them will be having same temperature. The uniform temperature will be there. At the surface, we have colder here and warmer here, but the decrease in temperature would be different for both of them, and ultimately a stage would come when the temperature will be uniform in the ocean. I hope you understand the topic well. Thank you for watching.